What's good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, the QQQ, Nvda, and just a couple of tickers out there. I want to talk about what the news is saying about the markets, and also what just happened with Goldman Sachs and Tesla, and what's happening to Tesla in the pre-market, and how it may determine Tesla's price action moving forward. Before I break anything down about all this information, though, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, don't forget about the Moomoo link. The offer ends very soon. Deposit $100 and you're guaranteed 5 free stocks with a $100 cash reward. Also, the offer ends in just 4 days, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Looking at the market, we have a lot of tickers that are very flat or even a little bit red in the pre-market. But I'm going to break down some important information first before I talk about the charts. Just so you guys know that at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index data coming out. And this is going to give the markets more insights on the manufacturing side of the economy. This is important because it may cause more volatility and show how strong certain sectors are looking or not. Now, when the data comes out, we may see a bigger move. Besides that, there's not much else coming out. So at 10:30 a.m., be prepared for that. But other than that, there's not much else coming out for the day. For tomorrow, we have more data coming out, lots of data coming out involving like home sales and etc. But please note that for Wednesday, we have Jerome Powell speaking 2 times. In fact, depending on where you are around the world, it's going to be like on Wednesday and possibly even Thursday morning, very early in the morning. So just so you guys know, Powell is going to be speaking. Just be prepared for that once again. But until then, we have some data coming out very soon. Now, as far as the news goes, the news is saying that the futures are very unchanged just to start off the final week of June. I want to remind you guys that historically the market tends to slow down during the summertime, especially as we approach like the July period, because a lot of people are going to be on vacation, and this is just what happens typically. Now, I also want to add that yes, the market could continue to remain a little weak going forward, but things could start to change big time because we're approaching big tech earnings very soon. They're coming out over the next couple of weeks, and when earnings season starts again, we're going to start to see big reactions. Earnings are going to determine if the market continues to get rug pulled for July as we approach July and throughout July, or if the market gets a very, very big bounce. That's very possible as well. The market could still squeeze again if earnings are very strong. And for now, just be patient. We're going to watch all the data carefully and do what you have to do. Now, as for Tesla, there was some news that came out that Tesla basically showcased its rear wheel steering instead of a parking garage. And that's really, really, really cool in my opinion. I can't wait to see what this thing could do in terms of its features. Its specs are just incredible, very, very powerful, very, very durable. And as time progresses, I just can't wait to see how advanced this ends up turning. So this is some very, very awesome stuff. The news is coming out. A lot of news about the Cybertruck has been coming out, so that's good to see. And other than that, there was some news that came out that was not that great for Tesla. However, there was some talk about how Tesla was downgraded to a hold rating from Goldman Sachs, and this was from an analyst known as Mark Delaney. This is important because we've been seeing all these different banks, all these different companies downgrading Tesla from a buy to like a hold, or saying that Tesla has an equal weight rating and things like that. Some companies have even said to sell on Tesla because it has some downside coming, and secure profits on it for safekeeping. With all these talks, this has caused us to slow down quite a bit, and that's very important because with this coming out in the morning, this is some negative news for Tesla once again, and the shorts may pounce on news like this. They also mentioned that Tesla has a lot of potential moving forward, but for the time being, they do have it like they're saying just to hold on to it. They are seeing some potential downside, and they just said to be very, very careful on it. They also recommended taking some profits if you come to that phase. And they are saying for the most part, however, hold on to your Tesla shares. Don't like start buying at these levels. That's just their opinion, and I would just be patient regardless. But now let's talk about what the charts are telling us. So, looking at Tesla, things are looking pretty okay for Tesla. Not too horrible, not too great. When you zoom out of the charts, right, we have this clear like head and shoulders like formation right about here, and I'm going to close some of these levels just so you could see it. So we have this head and shoulders that is still valid right now. Tesla fell below the 50 EMA on the 4-hour time frame. That's a sign of weakness as of right now during the pre-market. Now, with this head and shoulders valid, okay, if Tesla wants to turn bullish hypothetically, okay, let's just say there's some very, very good piece of news hypothetically. How could Tesla turn bullish? Well, first it has to get above the 50 EMA, which is going to be resistance around this 253 zone. Get above that, then we're going to be watching this thing get closer to 255. 255 is going to be the next resistance zone around that area. If it gets above that entire zone, basically what you want to do is slowly break the next resistance zones, like from 257.5, 260, and make its way all the way up to fill this gap at 265 and break that. And then if it breaks above that, it has the potential to turn more bullish. But the problem is we're not seeing that on the chart, and it is looking less likely for something like that to happen, especially after Goldman Sachs gave us some negative news. On the 4-hour time frame, Tesla's looking more bearish. There's no true sign of a bounce as of right now, and it is below the 50. So the odds are favoring the bears a lot more. And this head and shoulders looks like it has more validation as the days go on, because look, we have this like right shoulder that was forming. And since then, we've been getting so much negative news from like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan not too long ago as well, Adam Jones, and many others. So now you're basically going to be watching support. We have 252.5 acting as a resistance right now. It actually broke below that. The next major support is going to be 250. If Tesla breaks below 250, the last point of hope is going to be 247. The 247 area is going to be the neckline of this head and shoulders. If it breaks 247, okay, here are my words. If that breaks, Tesla's going to see lots of downside. It's going to get this rug pull most likely, and it's going to likely come all the way back down to the high 230s very soon, if not 235 for the gap fill. There's also this gap down here around this like 244 area, and we're going to see some support, some buyers and algos try to defend like 240. But like I said, I mean, we have this gap down here, which is going to act as a magnet in my opinion. I think the odds favor it getting filled. So like right here, we have this big gap right here. If it breaks below 240, or if it breaks even below like 243, there's a giant gap all the way down to about this 235 level. I see that getting filled basically if it ends up breaking below like as low as 240, if not even like 243. So yeah, the odds basically favor it coming down right now. It is looking more bearish, unfortunately, from a technical standpoint. But I'm always open-minded in case some like good news comes out that tries to save it. Although it's looking less likely, it's just worth noting. All right, so watch both support and resistance levels, and just know that we got another downgrade from Goldman Sachs. And if anything, that is what is slowing Tesla down right now, and that's why Tesla's kind of red in the pre-market. Watch the levels carefully and just note which support zone is going to be very important. So watch that 250 area and then 247 as the key levels. The odds favor those getting tested very soon. If they break, like I said, this head and shoulders could start playing out and we could see more downside for Tesla. For SPY, this is also looking more bearish on the 4-hour, but it's not a guarantee because things could change in the pre-market when volume starts to surge. Okay, so what are the levels to watch for on SPY real quick? If it tries to bounce, it's currently at about the very, very high 432s. If it tries to push up, there's going to be some resistance at 433 to 433.29. It's going to be very tight right here. If it tries to break above 433.29, which is the 5 EMA, watch resistance around this 434 zone. So 434, it's about 434.21, which is where we have our 50 EMA on the 4-hour time frame. We are below it right now, so that's more of a bearish signal. And if it breaks above 434.21, watch 435, and after 435 comes 436.25. The entire chop zone between 436.25 and 436.64, followed by 438. Now, right now, it's looking weaker, so it's unlikely it's going to make its way up that high. And in order for it to get hope of pushing to the upside, it has to break and hold above the 50 EMA on the 4-hour time frame. So far, it failed to do so. So I'd be very, very careful. Now, I'm bringing this up because it was holding above this for quite a while and actually bouncing off of it for a very long period of time. And now we're finally below the 50. So that's just worth noting. I also want to add that if it breaks down, however, if it breaks down, watch 432 as support. This is the support that's holding it up so far. If that breaks, it's likely going to come all the way back down to 430. Now, when it comes to breaking below 430, which could be a bearish signal, here's the thing you have to remember. Sometimes there could be false breaks. So if you're watching the chart, you need to see a strong break below 430 to turn a lot more bearish. Sometimes they're going to be fake outs because of how the algos work. What could happen is they try to trigger stops and they cause like the market to drop, and they push it right back up, and we form like these long wicks. If that happens, be careful with trying to short at these levels. Sometimes there is going to be some trickery. That's my warning for you guys. So like, for example, let me just show you guys this. Just like right here, for instance, like it pushed up, it came down, it came very close to about 430 flat. See this wick right over here where my cursor is? And then it came right back up afterwards after getting this backtest and this liquidity grab right over here. So sometimes that happens. I just want to inform you guys about that. Sometimes there's going to be trickery. Sometimes, they can have like long wicks and like fake outs before they try to reverse it. I don't really think that's going to happen. I think we're just going to be watching 430. And if you get a strong break below it, so if you get like a candle that's red that looks very strong like this, then it could break down even lower below 430 to much lower levels, and then potentially the gap all the way down to like the 420s. But for now, just watch it, be objective, and remain calm, cool, and collected. And I will see you guys very soon. Last but not least, for the QQQ, watch resistance all the way up at about uh 363. If that breaks, we have 364.69, 366, and then 368. If it breaks to the upside, there's also that gap. If 364.69 breaks, we have a gap above, so it's going to fill that gap all the way up to 366 if that breaks. If it breaks down, watch support at 362.5. And then if that fails us, there's 361.32, 360 as the major supports. 360, however, is going to be the most important support. If that breaks, there's a lot of downside that could come, and it's likely going to make its way up to the mid 350s. So watch these levels very carefully. The 4 hours looking more bearish, so it looks to me like it's going to likely retest these lower levels. But I'm going to be unbiased and say that for now. And last but not least, Nvda. Before I end the video, for Nvda, this thing is trying to hold up. If you want to turn more bearish, watch it break below the 50 EMA at around 418. There's also potential head and shoulders developing. The 4 hours looking more bearish, however, but there's no confirmation of it truly breaking down hard just yet, unless it gets below the 50. Then that's going to be a big signal. If it tries to balance, watch resistance at about 425. If that breaks, it could come all the way up to fill this gap at 430 to 433. And then if 430 to 433 breaks, 435, then 440 come next. It's trying to bounce off the 50 for now. If it tries to push up, watch it potentially try to fill the pre-market gap. But then the thing about Nvidia is it still is looking more bearish on the 4-hour time frame. So if it does end up breaking below this support right over here, it has potential for downside. So watch that carefully. 418 breaks. Watch 414, 410, and then potentially the 405 area. I'm in the middle for now. I'm going to be watching if it breaks below the 50. If it does, that's going to become bearish. If not, once again, it could still hold up. Apple's pretty flat. It's just barely holding up. So we're just going to watch support and resistance. 186 is going to be support. 185, 18, what was that? 184.17, 182.5, and then 180. For resistance, watch 187.5 as the next major resistance at current levels. Then 188. We have lots of resistance above, but it's very choppy and sideways for now. So watch it very carefully and do what you have to do. There's a possible bullish triangle developing, which could cause the market to bounce a little bit, but like I said, I'd still be very careful with this overall. I mean, there's no guarantee this plays out, and it's been very sideways, so there's no guaranteed direction. Anyways, thank you for listening. Watch your levels on Tesla. No, the technicals are looking a little bit more bearish on Tesla, and we just have to be as calm, cool, and collected as possible. And I will see you guys in the next video intraday. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, everyone. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, and peace out.